You ever wonder why that federal building, the courthouse or the Social Security office, is almost always smack in the middle of downtown? Well, for almost 50 years, there was a specific rule that made it that way. And that rule? It's gone. Today, we're going to break down Executive Order 14274. It's a quiet change, but it's a massive shift in how the U.S. government decides where to set up shop. Let's dive in. Seems like a pretty simple question, doesn't it? But the answer has these huge ripple effects. I mean, it impacts everything from your city's economy to your own tax dollars, and even how easy it is for you to get government services. And for a very, very long time, the answer was guided by some really specific, decades-old rules. So, to really get why this new order is such a big deal, we have to look back at what came before. This isn't some new debate. For the last, 40-plus years, the location of federal buildings all across the country has been dictated by two key presidential orders. Okay, so the story really kicks off back in 1978 with President Jimmy Carter. Then, fast forward to 1996, and President Bill Clinton adds another layer to that original policy. For decades, those two orders were the playbook. But then, this new order comes along and just wipes both of them right off the books. So what did these old policies actually do? Well, President Carter's order was all about urban renewal. At its core, it told federal agencies, hey, your first priority is the central business district, downtown, to help keep those areas alive. Then, almost 20 years later, President Clinton's order added a new twist, a focus on using historic properties, especially the ones already in those downtown areas. Right, so if these policies were the standard for so long, why the big change now? Well, the new executive order, it really doesn't mince words. It basically argues that the old way of doing things, no matter how good the intentions were, was actually creating some serious problems in the modern world. And here it is, the main argument, pulled directly from the new order itself. It says, the old policy, which was designed to help downtowns, had this major unintended side effect. It was essentially trapping federal agencies in expensive real estate. It stopped them from moving to cheaper, more efficient spots, even when it made total sense to do so. So the new order lays out what it calls a triple threat from the old policies. First, they were costing taxpayers more money by blocking moves to less expensive buildings. Second, they were actually making it harder for the government to provide efficient services to people. And on top of all that, they were distracting agencies from what they were supposed to be focused on, their actual missions. So what's the solution to this so-called triple threat? Well, the new order frames it as a simple return to common sense. It's a really direct and decisive action, designed to completely change how the government handles its huge portfolio of real estate. And the keyword here is revocation. It's so important to get this. It's not just a little tweak or an update. To revoke something means to officially cancel it, to make it totally null and void, like it never even happened. It's a complete hard reset. And here's the heart of the new order, done in two simple steps. Step 1, President Carter's 1978 order is revoked, gone. Step 2, President Clinton's 1996 order is also revoked, gone. And just like that, nearly half a century of federal allocation policy is officially over. So, with those old rules gone, what's the new guiding principle? Well, it's this. The focus is no longer on using federal buildings as a tool to shape cities. Instead, there are two new priorities: saving money and making government services easier for you to get to. The whole philosophy now is about putting the public and efficiency first. But an executive order is way more than just words on a page, right? It's a set of instructions for the entire federal government. So what happens next? How does this new philosophy actually get put into practice? Okay, so here's how it all goes down. First, the General Services Administration, think of them as the federal government's landlord, they have to officially rewrite the rulebook. Then, every single federal agency, from the FBI to the IRS, has to get in line and follow those new rules. And of course, the whole thing has to be done by the book and within their existing budgets. And that brings us to the big final question. What does this actually mean for you? With this new freedom, we might start seeing federal offices popping up in suburban office parks, maybe even in more rural spots, instead of being all clustered downtown. This could be a huge change for the economies of city centers. So the next time you need to renew your passport or visit a federal office, well, it could be in a very different place. The real question is, will this make government more accessible or just more spread out? I guess only time will tell.